James.
Jewish neighborhood at the time?
Yeah, Jewish and Italian.
Yeah.
We didn't know what a Protestant was.
Yeah. Were you religious? The family?
I was bar mitzvahed. My mother kept a kosher home.
Oh, yeah.
But I lost that a long time ago. My father's death changed my life. I was very close to him, and then I lost interest in school. I never went to college. My younger brother went through law school.
Is he still around?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
He's 76.
You guys got good genes.
Surprisingly, because my father died at 46 of a sudden heart attack, and my mother lived to 76. I always thought that I would die at 46 because he died at 46. He smoked, I smoked.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
But
when you're young,
I had a lucky heart attack. I was 53. I was smoking 3 packs a day.
You miss them? The cigarettes?
No. But if I had an hour to live, I'd smoke.
Yeah.
Because it was a great habit. However, I got scared to death and never smoked again. I had a heart attack in February of 1987. And through this driving home, my daughter drove me home from the hospital. And the cigarettes that I'd gone to the hospital with that were in my pocket, I threw into the Potomac River and never smoked again and never reached for a cigarette nor wanted one. Now, a psychiatrist friend of mine told me that what happened to me, fortunately, was I got scared to death, so much so that if I never chewed gum or held toothpicks, and that if I had a desire, the fright in me was so great that it went away. So I didn't reach for cigarettes in my pocket.
That's spectacular.
It was unbelievable. I don't even take credit for it. It was by osmosis.
The heart attack. When you had the bypass and everything else?
5 months. I had the heart attack in February and the bypass in December.
What was the feeling after you get a bypass? It seems like I don't know anyone that's had one, but there's a vulnerability that you feel, a fragility.
Well, you feel first the amazing thing is you have the weeps. Because a stranger moved your heart.
That's a real thing.
Yeah, they move your heart because they put you on a heart-lung machine. Sure. The whole process of now a lot of it's much simpler.
Yeah.
This was in 1987, but I'm still close with my surgeon.
Yeah.
I started the Larry King Cardiac Foundation. We help people who can't afford to get heart help. And he's the same surgeon. He did Letterman, Cronkite. He did Regis.
But you get choked up about things?
No,
what
happened is, after a couple of weeks, I went down to Florida, and this was funny. I was on the plane with Alexander Haig. Yeah. And we're in the first class, and he had heart surgery. And I started to cry. I didn't know why I was crying. And the stewardess came over, and he just said, "Don't pay any attention. It's the weeps, and it must be the vulnerability." What happened was, and then I got real healthy. I lost weight. Most people, when they stop smoking, gain weight. I lost weight. I took care of myself. I watched what I ate.
Still?
Yeah, I don't exercise as much as I used to, but I walk a lot. Any chance I get to walk, I walk.
And the food, you're careful with food?
I'm not super careful, but
sure.
I'm 5'11". I weigh 160.
That's good.
I was 190.
Yeah.
That's the most I weighed, was 190. I think when I had the heart attack, I weighed 190.
Did you stop going to the deli?
I have my own. We have our own bagel store now. It's called Brooklyn Water Bagel. It's
that's you.
Franchise. Well, I got the Beverly Hills franchise. I'm their spokesperson. So in return, I got the Beverly Hills franchise.
So you don't need to go to Nate Nell's anymore?
No, I go there once a month for some matzo brie because matzo brie was one of my favorite foods.
Did your mother make it?
Sure.
Yeah, my mother made it.
It was nothing like Jewish cooking. In fact, a chef was here the other day. We did a TV show for my internet show.
Which chef?
Stone, Chris Stone. And he was here, and he was going over all the delicacies that he cooks and everything. Yeah. And I said to him, are you going to cook a meat? Yeah. I said, I like it well done. And he goes, I can't cook that. I said, well, just keep cooking it. Yeah. I can't. I will not cook that.
Right.
And I said, why won't you cook that? Because he said, that's not food.
Right.
That's like a container you're eating.
Right.
I said, no, it's my food. I like I hate red meat.
Yeah.
I can't stand to see meat that's red.
Yeah.
So I'm kosher cooking. I have no religion at all.
Yeah.
My wife's devout Mormon.
Devout?
Devout. She goes to church every Sunday, and the children, we had an agreement when we got married, since I have no religion, that she could raise the children. I think it's good ethics.
Is she raising them Mormon?
Yeah, my boy goes to Catholic school, Notre Dame High School, and I'm glad to get grounded in a good faith. I lost my faith in God a long time ago, and
why?
The more I interviewed religious people,
but was there a moment?
I never got answers.
No.
No, I know.
They couldn't tell you for sure that there was.
I'm a person. I have to know, and if you're a messenger of God, I would ask them. All right, the old story: God gave man free will, so he couldn't stop Hitler. Okay, all right, I'll buy that. He couldn't stop Hitler. How about Katrina? That wasn't man's wish, was it? Man didn't start Katrina. And they don't answer, so they always say the same. We question not the ways of the Lord. Come on.
Right.
I question the ways of the Lord. Then I remember when I was a kid, while I'm a social Jew, I like being Jewish. I like Jewish food, Jewish humor. I gravitate toward Jewish people. I like Israel. But the God of the Old Testament, I didn't like him. Slay my enemies. Come on.
Sure.
I thought he was barbaric.
Yeah.
And I didn't like him.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to fear him.
Yeah.
And you're teaching me love and fear at the same time. And the Christian faith I could never bar.
But what about faith without God? Is it possible?
Faith in what?
In just a human's goodness?
I guess I have. I wouldn't call it faith.
Yeah.
I think it probably came from the Bible. The do unto others is the only law you need.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
In fact, you don't need any law in the books but do unto others. Do unto others covers cheating income tax, red light, murder.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one.
Everything is covered.
Don't lie, I think, is what...
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Don't pass the red light.
Yeah. Right.
Don't cheat on your income tax.
Yeah.
Don't screw around with people.
I think Carlin did a big bit on that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
George was a friend of mine, and we went over that a lot.
Well, there's that great joke about the rabbi, in terms, because I was brought up Jewish as well, and I don't really believe in God, but the joke about the rabbi walking down the street and it starts raining, and then the water is raising up about 2 feet, and some guys come by and in a car, and I get in the car, we'll take you to safety. The rabbi's like, no, God will save me. Then the water's up to his neck, and he's treading water a little bit, and some guys come by in a boat and say, Rabbi, get in the boat. And he goes, don't worry, God will save me. And then now he can't tread water anymore. It's so high, the buildings are covered with water. A helicopter comes down. They throw a ladder out. I said, Rabbi, get on the ladder. And the rabbi goes, no, God will save me. And he drowns. And he gets to heaven. And he says to God, why didn't you save me? And God says, I sent a car. I sent a boat. It's a tricky thing, how you interpret that stuff.
I know, but they say when your time is up, your time is up. Well, if you're on an airplane, what if the pilot's time is up? Why? I didn't have anything to do with that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, maybe you're all...
You can't say Jesus Christ.
Right.
Which is, by the way, you know how he got his name.
How?
It was in the manger, and they were trying to figure out a name.
Yeah.
And Joseph stood up and hit his head on the top, and he said, Jesus Christ.
That stuck.
That stinks. I like that kind of rhythm.
Yeah, it does. Got a little
5
catch
letters
to it.
in the first word, 6 in the second.
So the bagel joint, was this a reaction to the lack of ability to find a good bagel in this
They
town?
came to me, and they had this idea. They started in Florida, a very good company. They're franchising all over the country, and they said, we make the water. New York City is the best water in America. And they make the water in a lab. You see it in the restaurant. They show you the machines.
Oh, really? To match the New York water?
To match the New York water.
So they can boil the bagel in there.
Which is the equivalent, and the water is the difference.
That's right.
The theme is the differences in the water. So the bagel, everyone who comes in says, they're back in Brooklyn.
Really?
Yeah, it's great bagels. Great bagels.
It's nice to know that. Do you think, and now this is the question, do you think that because your father passed away at such a young age, that part of your interest and need to connect with people and know about them was some sort of search?
That might be true. I never questioned that psychologically. I know I lost something in not having a father, because all my friends had fathers, and I was like the boy without a father. Mm-hmm. So maybe that led to the need I don't know where it came from. The love to broadcast did not, because I wanted to be a broadcaster before he died. Mm-hmm.
And your first job was just on a radio? Was it a music show?
I was a disc jockey. It was an all kind of station, small station. We had news, sports. I did everything. But I did a disc jockey show in the morning, and then I did in the afternoon. I did sports and I did news, and you learn the business from the ground up.
Yeah.
And then I got this interview show at a restaurant about 2 years later, and that's when I started to.
Were you one of those guys that had to go all over the country at times to chase the work?
No, it was all in Miami. My whole career was 20 years in Miami. Then I got the national radio show. We were the first network talk show. And then I always did local television. I did television as much as I did radio. Probably 2 years of radio, and then television started, and I always did both. And then Ted Turner came along, and I'd interviewed him a few times, and he liked my work, and he had CNN. When they were 5 years old, I started on their 5th anniversary, and he liked me and hired me, and I didn't know what CNN was.
Yeah.
I didn't have it in my home, but it sure took off. And
that was it. That was the game changer, huh, for you?
Yeah, sure. Well, the radio was a kickoff, because I got a lot of good write-ups and a lot of stories about that radio show, and that was...
Why was it so? Why'd you get so much attention?
Because it was the first national network talk show, and I was the beginning of talk radio. Mm-hmm. I get a lot of credit as the beginning of talk radio in America. And,
do you like what it evolved into?
No, because it became a soapbox, screaming, yelling idiots, and a lot of what I hear is pop nonsense.
Yeah.
Political crazies.
No real discussion.
Political crazies, and NPR is good radio. Mm-hmm. But, the Limbaughs and these guys are just playing with a loose deck.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's an act.
So I know, they're hucksters.
There's some good Brooke. I came to respect Howard Stern.
Yeah, sure.
I used to, when I was earlier on, I didn't buy a lot of that act, but now I understand his maturity, and he's matured.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's true.
He's a very good broadcaster. But I was raised by the Godfreys, and there was whenever someone curses on the radio, it still drives me nuts.
Does it?
Yeah,
just doesn't fit right? It's like a violation.
Can we pause a second if I had to go to the men's room?
Go ahead.
Okay. You're older.
I'm looking forward to it.
No, don't.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Okay, 20 more minutes.
Okay, good. What I think what I want to talk about a little bit is your relationship with Jackie Gleason. How did he change your life?
When Jackie moved down to Miami to broadcast, I went up to New York and came down on the train with him and did interviews with him on the train. And then we had a big welcome Jackie to Miami dinner, and I emceed it. So I sat up on the dais with him, and we got to be friendly, and he'd call into my radio show, and then he came on my television show. And he didn't mentor me, but he liked me. And I made a big switch. I went from a Channel 10 to Channel 4. Uh-huh. Went from the ABC affiliate to the CBS affiliate. And he did all my promos. I mean, he was just terrific to me. He got Sinatra for me.
Yeah.
Sinatra owed him a favor, and that was the return of the favor.
He was a pretty, huge personality, right?
He was larger than life.
Yeah.
Everybody was pal.
Yeah.
Hey, pal. And he was at his house, and he was gregarious. He called himself a roaming Catholic. Uh-huh. He thought a lot about death, and the night before he died, we got a call from his PR guy. Yeah. And he made a list of people to call and say goodbye, which is very touching. Mm. He had, Jackie understood human behavior. he liked my curiosity, and he was a compelling person to be around because he understood poor, he understood being down, understood being broke, and he lived life larger than life. And he